Welcome, everyone. My name is Claire Chang, and I'm a Senior Program Officer at Blue Cross and Blue Shield Foundation of Minnesota. We're here today to share with you about healthy connections. That's the Foundation's upstream approach that's built on our very firm belief that strong social connections within communities and between communities contribute to better health outcomes in the short term and in the long term. I'm thrilled to be joined today by two of my treasured colleagues. I call them my Shiros, Nashina Hussain of Reviving Islamic Sisterhood for Empowerment, and Karen Ratz from Jewish Community Action. I'm going to be asking them a few critical questions. And the first is, Nashina, if you could go first and introduce yourselves to us and share your work with our viewers. And if you could please share an example of how your social connections work at RISE positively impacts health.
Hi, Claire. It's so great to see you. Hi, Karen. It's always wonderful seeing your bright face. So my name is Noshina Hussain, and I am the Executive Director of Reviving the Islamic Sisterhood for Empowerment. We are on a mission to amplify the voice and power of Muslim women, and we do that through storytelling, leadership development, and civic engagement. Now, you're probably wondering, what does that have to do with health and healthy outcomes? And we see a great, perfect connection because when we tell Muslim stories of Muslim women in an empowering and positive light, we see the ripple effect it has on our community. We are putting out positive images of who Muslim women are, countering the negative narratives that we see constantly. And as we do that, we also build up our Muslim women by teaching them different types of leadership development skills and then setting them loose in their communities to change those communities. And so civic engagement is a really critical part of our work because we want Muslim women to show up, take up space, use their voice, and make positive change in their communities. And that is what helps Muslim women feel like they belong, feel that they are part of the community and that they belong to all the different institutions that are existing around them. And so a great example of this is how Muslim women showed up at the Caucuses last year. A lot of people don't understand what caucus is, right? Is it a verb? Is it a noun? But we hosted a training online and in person to help Muslim women really understand what the process is in being involved in the election cycle. Because elections aren't just about that November, the first Tuesday in November, it is about an all year long process. And so in 2018, we saw 200 Muslim women show up at their community caucuses and not only cast their vote, but also take on larger responsibilities, becoming chairs of their precincts, becoming delegates, and then moving on to their conventions. And it wasn't just in 2018. We saw that ripple effect continue on to 2020. And so Muslim women aren't just coming alone to these different institutions, they're bringing others along. And I think that is one of the most important parts of determining our own health outcomes is that when we feel connected to others, we know that we belong and that we can make a change and a difference in our lives and the lives of others.
Thank you so much. And Karen, I know that you have been seeding those same kinds of things in the local Jewish community and across communities.
Oh, you did. It's the theme of the year. And good morning, Claire and Noshina. It's really wonderful to see you. My name's Karen Ratz. I'm the Executive Director of Jewish Community Action. We are a 26-year-old nonprofit organizing the Jewish community in Minnesota for racial and economic justice. So we do a lot of policy work at the municipal and state level on issues like affordable housing and criminal justice reform. And the way that we do our work is by doing a lot of education and relationship building in our community. And then we build teams of our members around an issue, and then we help them to advocate to make change in their backyards. I've been at JCA for 17 years and 4 as director. And I would say that our work impacts health in 2 really clear ways. Both directly through advocacy and then additionally through how we do it. So first, I'll give an example of some work we did recently here in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, where the city had, as a lot of cities nationally do, what they called a crime-free ordinance. We call them police evictions, though, because with these ordinances, what happens is that if a renter has the police called on them for things like loud music or a car parked in the wrong place, like really low-level things, the police actually require the landlord to evict them. And across the country, these ordinances have led to the displacement of predominantly Black and brown renters, low-wealth families, immigrants. And we know that being displaced or losing your home exacerbates things like stress and poor health. And it can mean that kids have to change schools. And it basically can amplify just the disparities that we already know exist across the spectrum. So JCA members met with the city council, got them to agree to a hearing, and then they spent the summer door knocking every resident of St. Louis Park and building public support to repeal the ordinance, which the city council then did, making them one of the first cities in the nation to repeal one of these ordinances because it was the right thing to do and not because they were sued. And so that has a really clear impact on the health of the folks that were impacted by that decision. But there are tangible ways that the policies we work on have this impact on health. But the other way that I think our work impacts health is that we build relationships and we ground ourselves and our members, like Noshina does, in community and culture. Organizing is fundamentally about working collectively around a shared purpose. Often when folks are marginalized or targeted, or when they're afraid, they can turn inward and isolate themselves and push away from other people. And we know that there are poor health outcomes associated with that. So our work in how it pushes through that isolation and brings people into community around shared self-interest makes people feel more connected and increases their sense of well-being and belonging while they're making a change in the world.
Those are fantastic examples from both of you. I also think it's really important for our viewers to maybe have a better understanding and a grasp about how you, as two Jewish and Muslim leaders, work together in solidarity. And Karen, if you could maybe kick us off, that'd be great.
Sure. For a long time, I used to joke that in Minnesota, interfaith means a bunch of different denominations of Christians all together. And then like in more recent years, maybe a Jew or a Muslim. Because most likely this meeting or this interfaith event was scheduled on one of our holidays so that both of us couldn't be there at the same time. And it's a joke, but I want to name that there are parts of the country that are more diverse than Minnesota. Minnesota is very white, and it's also about like 78% Christian, and most of that is Protestant. And Christian hegemony, by which I just mean the way that something that is pervasive and common can just become like a norm. It can make being on the outside of that norm feel deeply isolating. And I think that having shared experience can really bond folks of smaller faith groups. It can build a lot of common ground, and just in a functional way, sometimes it takes a bunch of us working together to create a critical mass to shift some of those norms that keep us marginalized. And I'll just be honest, on a lot of the issues that we work on, whether it's anti-LGBTQ legislation or like hate crimes legislation, faith is often a big, it's used as a lever or like a wedge to divide us against each other. Jews only comprise about 1% of the state of Minnesota. I think Muslims are about the same. So honestly, working together is just valuable in the context of interfaith organizing, where we really are like just factually stronger together. The other thing that's been valuable, at least to my members, I mean, besides our friendship, but one of the things that's been valuable to a lot of folks in the Jewish community is that in the last several years, we've seen an increase in white nationalist organizing, whether it's what we saw in Charlottesville or just some of the rallies that have happened here locally in certain communities. And we're pretty aware that the way our communities are targeted are linked and connected to each other. So the shooters who've targeted synagogues share ideology with those who've targeted mosques. And both of our communities are experiencing violence that's coming from branches of the same tree. And we know that our enemies want us afraid and they want us fighting with each other. And so our solidarity is it's a real antidote to that. And being in relationship just keeps us safer.
Thank you. Noshina, I'd love to hear this from your perspective as well.
Yeah, I'll just add, Claire, that Karen touched on interfaith dialogue, and I think both of our organizations are really faith in action, right? We don't sit around and just talk about what commonalities do we have between our faith traditions. We actually go out and make change in our community. So Karen also, mentioned about just policy change. We have been working together on a hate crimes bill for the past 2 years or 3 years, right? And it isn't just Muslims and Jews. We have brought in a lot of diverse partners into this work because we know that we can't do this work without each other. We are in it for our shared liberation, and we are there in this coalition really trying to change the way hate crimes are reported, change the way police officers are trained on reporting on it. And in that work, it's not just Muslims and Jews. We have our partners from Outfront Minnesota. We have the Asian Minnesotans Alliance for Justice. We have so many others that are there together to change policy at our state level. We're showing people we're part of democracy, that we're part of the civil society. And although we're there doing that policy change work, like Karen mentioned, it is in solidarity with each other. So when there is a shooting at a synagogue, when there's a shooting at a mosque, it is sometimes my Jewish sisters that are first to call me and check in on me and ask, what should we do? And I know there are moments where we just want to crawl under a rock and hide because it is just too much, but we lean on each other for that emotional support, for that backing up of getting out there and doing this work together. And then finally, we even show up for our communities. Like I know last summer we were partnering a lot on mutual aid distribution and going out and helping our communities, making sure people have what they need. We work a lot with the National Council of Jewish Women also on menstrual equity. We made sure that women and non-binary folks had the menstrual products that they needed. We distributed them at encampments and so forth. So there's a lot of different intersections of the way we show up for each other and for our community.
The other thing I want to share with our viewers today is that you are each in deep relationship with each other. I am really trying to be in relationship with you individually and you collectively. Can you share a little bit about what you've learned about relationships?
I think Karen is hilarious. I just love her personality. And I think, how sometimes there's like people that you just gravitate towards, like that is Karen for me. Relationships are hard. I mean, I think we all acknowledge that, but they're also fun, right? I have had the opportunity to really become great friends with a lot of women in both of our communities, across our communities. And, we enjoy each other's company. I've been at so many Seders. I love JCA Seder. I'm sad that we've been doing them through Zoom lately. It's not fun, but we've had our communities together for iftars during Ramadan. We've shared meals together, and so it really becomes authentic. And I keep going back to the fact that we don't just sit down and talk about, oh, this is how I practice Islam or how I practice Judaism. We see it in each other as we are rooted in our faith traditions while we navigate the social justice change and racial equity work that we do. And so for me, I don't just see Karen as like a partner and a collaborator. She really is like a sister of faith that is doing the work with me.
That's great. Go bring us home, Karen.
Thank you. I mean, I feel the same. And I won't just go on about how much I like Nashina, although I do. Obviously, I'm literally in her basement right now. Hi. So I would say, in my work, I try to stay grounded in relationship before task. The main things that I've learned, both from things that have gone well and have not, are about trust and generosity and also just humility. Earning trust takes a lot of time, but just because you put the time into building a relationship doesn't mean that you're actually owed trust or that you will be trusted. And you do still have to do the work. And we all show up to our relationships just carrying a lot of baggage and trauma, and we also have to be generous with each other and with ourselves. And so when I think about relationship before task, it requires slowing down. and taking our intentions away from getting something done, which can be really like counterproductive to what like funders want us to do, or like what our organizational budgets call for. But I think it's really important. I think it's really important to like the true long-term mission of our work. And it's necessary. And there's the last thing I'll say is there's this essay that I always think of that goes, I'm starting a new movement. It's called We're All in This Together, which is not to be confused with the Hey Man, I Know How It Is movement. Because we're all coming from different backgrounds and experiences and relationships. We might be all in this together, but we actually don't know how it is for each other. You know, we're all showing up coming from different places, but then we're going somewhere together, and the road actually won't feel the same to all of us. We won't all have the same obstacles on that road. And so you have to do the work to know who you are and to meet others where they are without universalizing anyone else's experience or erasing the ways that we might be different while moving together in the same direction.
Well, and 20 minutes flies by, and I want to first of all thank both of you. We are in this together. I really feel like the three of us are in this together as women, as leaders. I am a Protestant Christian, so across our geographical and other communities. And my hope for today is that our grant-making partners that are viewing this will really ask themselves, how can each of us be in relationship with community? How can we do that with humility? How can we as grant makers be accountable back to you and to your communities, that there's that reciprocity? Because I think when we figure out what our right role is in being right with each of you and your communities, we have a much better chance for the community as a whole to move health to a place that is within everyone's grasp, that everyone deserves. I really cannot thank you enough for all that you do every day within your community, within your organizations, and across the work. And so I'm so humbled and honored to get to be a small part of helping you work the magic and the hard work. It's not all magic, there's no wand, there's a lot of hard work. But what I've seen these women accomplish in their community by working together has been magic for the lives that they change in their community. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you.